Welcome back, everyone. We have now moved on to July, and we are going to be focusing on food this month, and we're starting off with an avocado. So I've used a watercolour block and a pencil, and we are going to start off by just drawing a straight line and drawing a line perpendicular to that at the right hand side of that line, and we're going to draw another line horizontally just below it, and this time we're going to draw the perpendicular line to the left hand side of the line, and then we are going to create a kind of M shape, a bit like a bird, and then we're going to join that with the ends of the perpendicular line on the right hand side and just slowly bring it down, and then we're going to curve it round to meet the other side, and this will give you a good guide to create the shape of the avocado, and then you can just work over it. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, so create the M on the long hand side of the line, and then bring the curves round to the ends of the cross, and then bring it all the way around to create that shape. And this is a really easy way of trying to create a shape of the avocado rather than doing it freehand, but you can also do it freehand, but this is a easier technique of trying to get that shape. And then you can just go over it just to refine the shape a little bit more. And then the bits where the lines cross over is where we're going to actually create the inner circle, and this goes back to when we first started out this Draw With Me series, where I showed you guys how to draw a sunflower, and we're just going to create semicircles around each of the lines just to create a more sort of clearer circle. Once you've done all of this, you can just, like I said, just go over and just make the shapes a bit clearer and give it more of an avocado shape. Ideally, you should try and create both halves of the avocado the same size, just to make it look like it comes from the same avocado. Now we're going to move on to starting our painting. What we're going to do with this is work wet on wet. So all you need to do is use a big rounded brush and just use some water and just paint with no paint on the brush itself across the halves of the avocado, but leave out the circle in the middle. And then we're going to use some dark green and some brown, and then we're just going to mix those two colours together to create a beautiful green that we're going to paint our avocado in. This is the satisfying bit. So we're going to use the rounded brush just to paint along the edge of the avocado and just let the paint do its work and blend in naturally. And this is why we're working wet on wet, because this is such an easy way of blending the colours, and it's also really satisfying. And then we're going to use a bit of yellow and mix that in with the green that we made, and just use the brush to paint in the middle part of the avocado. And we want to try and create an illusion that the edges of the avocado is a lot darker, which is why we're going to make sure that the inside is a lot lighter. And then just use a bit of water and just bring all the paint to the edges of the avocado. That way it will still blend, but it will also have the illusion that the edges are a lot darker. Wet on wet is one of my favourite techniques to use, just because it's really satisfying and the colours blend a lot easier. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the other half, so just use a bit of water on its own to paint the half of the avocado. And then we're going to do this exact same thing again using the exact same colours. So we'll start off with just using the green, dark green and the brown mixed together. And oh, look at that, it's so satisfying. And again, just use the paintbrush just to paint on the outer markings of the avocado and just let it naturally blend inwards. And then we're going to use the yellow mixed in with the green to paint the middle bit again, and we're just going to do the same thing by blending and then trying to move the paint to the outer edges of the avocado. You can see little pools forming. I think that's where the paper is starting to sort of curl up a little bit, which is why if you're not using a watercolour block, you should really try and use some tape to tape down your paper. And then we're using some yellow and white mixed in together just to paint in the middle bits of the avocado again. And then we're going to use a really small rounded brush just to go over the edges of the avocado. And you should wait for the painting to dry a little bit before you do this. Not fully, because you still want a little bit of blending. And then you can use a bit of tissue just to mop up the pools that have formed. And then I'm just using some water to, again, do a bit more blending. And then wait for that to dry, and then we're just going to use a little bit of the yellow mixed in with the green to paint one of the circles that's in the middle. And then we're going to use a little bit of green mixed in with white just to paint around the edges of the small circle. And then we'll just use some water just to blend that through, because we want to make the illusion that the pit of the avocado isn't in there, but we want to show that there's a bit of depth. And then we're just going to use a little bit of yellow in there as well, just to blend that inwards. And then we're going to use some dark brown to paint in the pit in the other half of the avocado. So use a lot of water just to paint the brown in. And you don't have to do it in this order. If you want to have the pit in the top half of the avocado, you can do that as well. And then we're going to use a bit of black just to create a bit of shadow, and make sure you do this wet on wet. So just paint the top half in black and just let it sort of blend naturally. And then I'm just using a little bit of green just to create a bit of shadowing in the top half. And we'll do the same thing in the bottom as well. Now you can blend this as much as you want to, but it's best to try and create different shades of green and yellow for the avocado. And I've just used a little bit of yellow in the pit itself. And we're going to just slowly blend out the black that we initially painted on, but leave a little bit of black at the top just to create a bit of a shadow. And I'm using a little bit more black, using a smaller brush just to go over the bottom half of the pit. We're nearly getting there, so I'm just going to go over and with a bit of darker green at the bottom half of the avocados, and we're going to use a little bit of brown just in the half of the avocado that doesn't contain the pit, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then just blend away just to make sure that the colours are very well fusing together. And then that's it, we have finished our avocado. It's super quick, and avocado is probably one of the easiest foods that you can draw. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me once again,